Hello. Welcome to Overworked Nerds. Tonight, we are living up to our name. A lot of us are out, either traveling or dealing with issues at home. So, to our friends that are not here, we miss you and can't wait till you come back. But in lieu of continuing our campaign, missing so many, we decided to do a surprise AMA in the last 15 minutes because yes,
Exactly.
there's a a representative is here who I'd like to talk to you about your motorcycle insurance. But no, we thought it would be fun to talk through some, burning questions about characters and world and stuff like that we've been thinking about over the past few months that we've been doing this campaign. So, yeah, we're gonna do that. But, your mom's out.
Yeah, Jimmy, you don't get to laugh. That was a joke from last week.
What happens as kobolds stays as kobolds.
That was pure me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're sponsored by Next Gen 3D Creations. They make amazing custom 3D printed dice trays that are modular.
And affordable.
Yeah. See?
See?
Told you. Modular.
It's a really good Christmas present.
Oh, you're right. It is a good Christmas present. Because, they are extremely affordable and well made and durable. Like, you can... I'm not going to drop it. But I could if I wanted to.
I would say that, for anyone who is actually interested, Avery's a small shop maker.
Yeah.
So, if you plan on doing it for Christmas or anything, get it while the getting's good. Because, it's November, it's soon to be December. You're at Grandma's house and you don't have your Next Gen 3D custom dice tray.
For Grandma?
For Grandma, she's going to be pissed.
That's
so...
true.
Because everybody's grandma.
Good luck.
Very disappointed.
Yeah.
And also, as always, we are our other sponsor, Little Silver Bar. They have amazing mocktails and craft beverages and zero proof spirits, all that type of stuff. So hit up littlesilverbar.com for all of your amazing alternative beverage options. And then hit up us. We are here. We're people. And we, Overworked Nerds, patreon.com/Overworked Nerds, Instagram.com/Overworked Nerds, all the socials. Yeah.
All the socials.
We're social.
You go to Google and you type in Overworked Nerds. It's us.
It's us.
We beat Google.
We be Overworked.
We are the only search result for Overworked Nerds.
Yeah. So check Google.
Don't get any funny ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, you underworked nerds out there.
They got all the time in the world. Where it's
To
such
mess with us.
where it's such a disadvantage.
Yeah. So to break up that little bit of rough start, we're gonna play our intro video.
One shot. One shot.
Don't be afraid, come take my hand. Your friends are here, they have your back. Venture out with us onto an all new land. We will all be for you what you lack. It's time to play. Grab your dice and your snacks. There are goblins ahead in this cave. Let's go on the attack, for we must save the day. We'll be heroes or failures. It's our tale and it's our game to play.
Oh, we're back. Cool.
Yay.
All
Tell us how cool our video is.
I'm just going to light this pipe in your house.
Do it.
Whoa.
So we're gonna do this we're gonna like ask questions of each other first, and then we're also gonna jump in the Twitch and Facebook and YouTube chat. So if you got any questions while we're going at it, talking through some of our character journeys, feel free to post those, and we'll get to answer those live. So cool. Let's see.
I don't mind going first.
Why don't we start with Mordark? How's Mordark feeling about everything? You know, you've recently died and come back to life.
Yeah. I'm sure anyone who's following along with the story is probably picking up that, you know, Mordark, who he was when he first set off on this adventure, was very just like ambitious, but also naive almost, thinking that he could step into any encounter, any shop, get away with whatever he wants, and he dealt with some really real ramifications, like dying.
Consequences.
Those are them's are some consequences, and now it's, you know, the very next instance of combat, the first thing that surfaces up is like almost like this like tension in your throat, and you're like, I just died, I can't risk it again, and so you tuck off and hide and let your friends handle it for you. Then you feel super bad and super guilty because you're supposed to be this brave adventurer, you're supposed to be heroic, and you're supposed to be helping. Like Mordark is definitely someone who prides himself in helping when needed, usually for monetary gain, but you know,
usually
as a sub goal. But he just kind of like shrunk down, and he's dealing with all of the thoughts and feelings behind, you know, what he's actually out there risking, which is his own tail. It's tough to balance, because now what he's gonna now he's gonna have to figure out how to kind of level set with himself, like where it's appropriate and suitable for him to step out, be audacious, be, you know, a little more of himself as everyone has like previously known him, but also know where it's like, okay, you're out of your depth, like you're seriously risking it, you're jeopardizing the party, you're risking your own life. So it'll be a fun balancing act to kind of figure out, at least until maybe the feelings subside later on, and you know, maybe I go down again. We'll see what happens.
I appreciate that you had a more realistic reaction to dying and coming back, instead of just being like, okay, great, I'm back. It was like an actual dealing with your mortality, and I think as a player, it was smart to use it for Mordark's like character arc, and like realizing, okay, some things need to change, but things don't change for no reason. So this is a really good way to like introduce that. You basically like have the yips.
I've got a bit of the yips right now.
Like you have to earn your confidence back.
Yeah.
Got a little bit of the run like a little bitch.
Well,
that's
tell the camera, Clark, how much of a bitch I'm being.
That's what we're here to do. We're here to talk.
Yeah.
We're here
like,
to yap.
Me and Jimmy had talked about it afterward, and it was really, I was surprised by how, you know, emotional and attached you were to Mordark. Like, you were like, man, this like sucks. So we weren't really sure, like, if it was like, hey, it's time to build a new character, or if it's like, we'll see what happens. But
yeah, I think that the hard part was like dying, and then Poppy like failing her roles, and then it suddenly like started really sinking in that like this character is probably DUN. It's over. It's tough because Mordark, I'm not gonna say he is technically the first character I ever thought up in D&D, and I've played other characters and tried. I tried when we did Finn being our DM a long time ago. We did like a
dwarf.
Like a faux Harry Potter kind of style. We were doing like a Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry kind of
do you know the
campaign.
name of that campaign?
Yeah,
it's like one that you buy.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it right now, but I do know.
There's
there's the actual.
It's Pig Blister School of Warlockery. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, who did you play? Because we only did like one session of that campaign.
I mean, we did a few, and it's basically learning spells and learning kind of like that wizard class. And then I also played
Gosh, I don't even remember his name. That's how disinterested I was in playing this character. But I played a variant Asimar.
I remember that Soul.
Yeah, Soul. Yes, perfect.
Oh.
Yeah, I played Soul, and man, it was so tough because he didn't really like lean one way or another. It was actually his complete inexperience with the world and exploration and really reality, because he kind of grew up in isolation. His inexperience, and I really just didn't know where to go or what to do with him, how he should think, how he should feel or operate inside of the world as he's exploring. So,
And you didn't really get time to figure that out either. Like all the other characters you've played have only seen like less than 4 sessions.
yeah,
So it's like you don't really have time to connect with them or figure out who they are.
yeah.
But yeah, this is the only character death you've experienced. It's basically your only character.
And I don't know if anyone else is picking this up, or you'll probably get it on the recording, but I'm not an experienced D&D player at all. So I've only built 3, maybe 4 characters ever, like 4 characters ever. And Moradark was the first, and is just from a personality standpoint, he's the character I enjoy playing the most, because he's really like me, Jimmy Allen. Like, he's my stream of consciousness in real life. And then, you know, you're what is it called when like you want to, I don't know, swing a baseball bat at a mailbox, but then your like morals tell you no.
Oh, like your intrusive thoughts?
Yeah,
Your morals telling you no is your conscience.
Yeah, the morals part. There's another word that starts with an L, and I can't remember what it is. But basically, like, Mordark is like all the things that flood out of my head all at once about all of the bad things or like, you know, taboo things that you want to do.
He's like your
impulsive. Yeah.
Your id or
Mhm.
Honestly, Mordark is you when you drink.
Great.
solid.
Love it. So that just makes him fun to play.
Damn it, Les.
Because
You're not going to be able to.
I'm never going to unsee this now.
Yeah, you're also not going to be able to enjoy drinking with Jimmy anymore.
No, if he starts drinking, I'm just going to call him Moradar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have a question, going back to like the mortality part.
Okay.
So, we know a little bit as we know very little as characters, but as players we know a little bit more about what you experienced in the afterworld, which is basically like you were a shitty person. Like, this isn't going to go well. And you're giving me that look.
I mean,
yeah, but hey.
But it seemed like when you were in the afterlife and when you had first came back, you gave the priestess a bunch of money. You had a little bit of that, like, oh, I realized that I wasn't a good person, so I need to change things around. But in the last few episodes, whenever you've talked about your experience in the afterworld, you've said that you don't remember anything. And it seems like it's kind of teetering away from the idea of, like, I need to be a better person now for the afterlife. And I don't know if that was on purpose or...
Yeah, it's...
I was confused about that.
It's so like conversations that I've had with our Kyle. You get like glimpses, or you have like not the memory, but the feeling of the memory.
Yeah.
And so you don't have the concrete. It's not a movie that you can fast forward and rewind of like what happened in the Veil. But you have these feelings of like. That it wasn't good. You didn't show up and it was like
that makes sense.
Sunshine, rainbow, Celestia, relaxation. Like, it wasn't that. But it wasn't like, it wasn't the trials. I know that, like, I basically know that, like, I didn't, and this is just like where my character's at right now with the feelings memories, but I didn't go anywhere, but I knew I couldn't go to a good place. And I knew that there were a lot of things that were really unsettled. And I also remember that, like, I wasn't destined for the good place. This is a TV show, right? Like,
Oh, The Good Place? Yeah, I was just talking to Kyle about it.
You'll keep saying
Kyle
that,
like he'd love it.
I just keep thinking about that show.
I know you've watched it a
time.
lot. I haven't really watched it. I just catch a few episodes here and there as she watches it. But
No spoilers.
yeah, no spoilers and no free ads.
Not even you.
Yeah,
Good place.
Kristen Bell.
Kristen Bell.
Kristen Bell.
So
I'm sure she's devastated.
you're
Honestly, she would come play D&D.
that would be amazing.
Actually, that would be
She's so cool.
That would be
Yeah.
super dope.
Please
Yeah.
come play
You want a cameo?
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Christian Bale.
you know,
Dude.
mutually beneficial arrangement.
If we pull up this footage in like 5 years, that'd be so fun. 5 or 10 years, we're like, look, it's Kristen Bell.
And then we have Christian Bale on in the same episode.
What?
Nah.
You ever heard it's a video of a guy basically going like, Christian Bale, Christian Bale, Christian Bale, and he like makes them the same word.
Oh.
No.
That's what we're referencing.
Welcome to the internet,
I
everybody.
don't spend that much time on screens.
So
We're on screens a
I
lot.
do.
Yeah.
So, I want to make sure that I got your question answered. Like,
Well,
what is
not
going
really.
on?
No. My question was, when you first came back, you had more of a sense of guilt and like you seemed determined to be a better person.
Yeah.
And that's kind of gone away a little bit. Is that on purpose?
Yes, it is. It's modeling the very real, like, when you're a human and you have, let's say, like a bad dream, you really remember the bad dream right when you wake up.
Mhm.
And 2 days ago, you go, I had a bad dream a couple days ago, but like someone died. I don't know what it was, and it's fuzzy, right? Because like it didn't actually happen, so your brain didn't write it to memory.
Mhm.
And this is like something happened. You know it happened because the feelings are still there, but you don't know the concrete details.
So you're just not confident, really unsettled, feel like something's off, but you don't know what.
The feeling that I know I have is that I have to try to do better this time around.
Mm-hmm.
Weighed with, I still want to make more money.
Mm-hmm.
Weighed with, I still want to help people.
Yeah.
Like help my friends be a good adventurer and go do fun, incredible stuff. So, yeah.
that's real. I feel like that's a very like human reaction, like you said, so, especially for Mordok, because he's more, I think,
More dark.
childlike than most of the other characters.
Mhm.
He like when a kid gets in trouble or something happens, they're like in that moment they're crushed and they're like,
Yeah.
holy crap, like I got to change my life. Everything is awful, and then like 10 minutes later they're kind of like, I might do that again. So it's a
Yeah.
it's an honest reaction.
Yeah. It's not playing the character like, you know how like when you write stuff, like if you have the time and the space to write something, you try to make it really perfect. I'm trying to play the character as imperfect as I possibly can. So having gut react, like he pulls out his necklace and his thicket comes out. I'm like, you hypocrite! Like the immediate feeling is like, you've got a special secret, you got a special talisman that hides your little friend.
I
like,
loved that.
Yeah.
and so the immediate thing that boils up is like, you hypocrite. And then obviously you bring logic to it, and you're like,
But
Oh,
do you
well, it's
remember
not the
that
same.
everybody else, like Ainsora and Poppy and like everybody else was also like, yeah, you've been getting on to us and you had this secret the whole time.
Okay, your secret was
That's
like
great.
world ending. Okay.
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
specifically pissed off about your withholding information about this world-ending
We didn't
device that you
know
had.
you well
That's-
enough.
no, it's fair. No,
It's
like
fair.
the
It's
logic.
It might be-
They're not
But
on the
it
same
was
level
so
here.
funny that we were all like, yeah, hey.
Yeah.
Russell-
The logic about the situation is you're completely right, but
The emotion.
the gut reaction, emotions that like my character experiences is like, you gotta be f***ing kidding me! Like, you hate my friend, but you get to have your own secret friend. Like,
Oh, yeah, that too.
Your own
So-
secret friends.
there you go. Have
Except
fun.
for my secret friend doesn't trap people within his own.
Or murder.
Like,
Wait, he
Let's
does.
talk about
He does
Lorathiel.
murder, but he murders
He
the bad
doesn't-
guys.
He doesn't necessarily murder. It's more of a self-defense thing. But
Slaughtering.
Yeah.
You know, he's
Been
not
a-
trapping and torturing people within his plane of existence in order to get out and have some
No.
freedom. You
Yeah,
know?
no, he don't be doing that.
No.
He don't be doing that.
Allegedly.
And then
No. Dick is a sweet boy.
Whoa, actually, he controls the world, so you never know.
he's gonna be like, think its backstory is.
I think, yeah. I think the only person that's witnessed something like awful from Lorathiel directly is Marcus. He's like everybody else kind of like speculates and it's like, what?
I've just been told
what is he
stories.
about? Yeah, and the only thing that Marcus has seen has been like, you know, a very nondescript area of like rows and rows of like prison cells and
Mm.
Also,
And
the
he told us
interaction
he
in the
felt
library was
murdery.
very untrustworthy too. Like that just sent up a ton of red
Which,
flags for
what
me.
was it?
The interaction in the library where
Which one?
That's when
I played
Jimmy
him?
was playing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole.
But in actuality, it was a bark and no bite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've seen the stat sheet. He can bite.
I feel like the
Spoilers.
issue, yeah, the issue with Lorathiel is like you're definitely not a great person, and you're definitely dangerous, but you keep doing nice or helpful things for us. So
I'm starting to get the vibe that he's not a great person, but he's not intentionally not a great person.
He's not our
just-
enemy either, and
He's
Kyle
morally mute. He doesn't know right from wrong. He just does what he wants. That's
Kyle
the vibe
brought
I
up
get.
like he's Fae. Like Fae don't have the morals that the human realm has. So for him, he's not evil. He's just existing within his own nature.
Yeah.
But for us, we're looking at that in our realm because that's the only way you can.
Oh,
Yeah.
you guys
I
should,
really like.
you guys should
Lorathiel
study
as
the
a
concept
character.
of frames. Like I learned frames from sales, but like Lorathiel's frame is like, and the entire thing that I was driving as I was getting to portray the character is like, you guys are playing inside of right and wrong and moral and corrupt and like sides and I'm like Lorathiel is like I've got an agenda and I'm driving it. So whether it's right or wrong, like it's not up to you. You're a piece on the board.
Yeah.
And I'm punching this thing. I'm putting it in gear and I'm stomping on the pedal.
Yeah.
So that's why Moradork and Lorathiel will get along so well. Because that's how you treat friendships.
It's
Very logical.
Yeah. Yeah. I think getting along so well is honestly like Moradork's naivety. Like Moradork doesn't actually know that like if he died that Lorathiel is just on to like the next person who's gonna help him. So yeah, it does kind of set him up for being like could totally get crushed by Lorathiel in the future, like both physically and emotionally. But like, in the meantime, I'm definitely playing him as like we're friends. We want to do cool stuff together. I'm adventuring, and all of a sudden, I found this super powerful being from another place, and like he's cool with me. I'm cool with him. Like symbiotic.
Is there some romantic potential there?
Not really.
can't count them out.
You're
I
treating
did,
him a little bit different than you treat your other friends, is all I'm gonna say.
Dude, okay, so it's basically
You
like
called him handsome multiple times.
it's like if like you hang out with your friends
Now
from
I'm starting to understand.
He's
you
a
hang out with your
handsome
friends
guy.
like in the garage drinking beer, and all of a sudden John Stamos walks up to the garage and is like, "Hey guys, crack me open a Mickey G."
Would you crack him open a kiss?
Probably not.
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll wait for the fan art.
Probably.
Oh my god. That's
That's-
literally my goal. All
I
I,
really
want
wish
is
we
someone
had-
to make
yeah.
fan art.
I
It
just-
doesn't have
I
to be
just want
good.
a fan artist. That's all I want.
Take
Yeah,
me
it
away.
doesn't have to be good. I just want to see. I just want to see it.
I'm
Yeah.
literally only playing in this group because I'm hoping for fan art. That's it.
That's what we're all here for. It's not.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's no secret.
All of this production, all of the time, energy,
Yeah.
and money is just
So
an investment in fan art. One
Yeah.
day, maybe.
somebody out there, please.
So we spent a good bit of time on me.
Yeah, you said you could only talk for 5 minutes, but look at
That was a
you.
Look
lot.
at me
Yeah.
go.
That was a lot more than 5 minutes.
It's been almost 30 minutes.
I have questions for all three of you. However,
Okay.
I don't know where to start first. So
Start with five.
roll
Roll dice.
for initiative.
You want us to
Oh.
roll?
You get to roll
I
dice
love
today?
dice.
Amazing.
Do I get advantage?
You get advantage,
11.
16.
14. What do I add?
Poppy. No.
Friendship modifier?
Yeah.
All
right.
Drinking
so-
buddies modifier?
All right. Poppy, you are like in our backstory and our like in being in Bee Grove. You grew up in like a career household. You also had a good bit of experience like helping like bring lives into the world. why did you choose to go off an adventure as opposed to staying inside of the career and doing what is familiar to you?
So, this is like the biggest part of my backstory that got told in like episode 3 or something.
That pre-stream?
And- no, recorded, and no one paid attention. Poppy was talking to an NPC or something. Who was I talking to?
False. I think I
You
have it
have
in
to
your
remind
head.
me. There's
I think it might have been
so
talking to
many.
my mom.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That's
okay.
right.
And some of the friends were nearby. But yeah, like, it was just one of those times when I was like, I'm going to let it go. Because it was like a not wanting to metagame it. But basically, for Poppy, there was a woman who came into Bee Grove pregnant and went into labor. My mom and I were like, yeah, great, we're going to deliver this baby. But it became clear very quickly that something was very wrong with her. And it wasn't something medically that we could fix. And we ended up, the baby died and the mom died, and we couldn't do anything. And it was very clear that she had been cursed or possessed in some way, because it was a magic that, like, was abnormal outside of Poppy's control. Tried everything she could and watched these 2 people die, which is not something that happens super often.
Yeah.
She's like, I deliver babies. I deal with life stuff. I worship the goddess of life. And so watching her, like, have no ability to help this person was extremely traumatic and haunts Poppy, which is why she struggles with when people are dying and she can't do anything because she watched these people die. So
Boy, are you adventuring with the wrong person.
yeah, that was rough for Poppy.
Oh,
I
I'm
And so
sorry.
for-
really do
I'm-
not remember this.
Was this? I think it's
This
before
is
you came on
something
board.
I
that
think
nobody-
it had to have been pre-stream
Yeah.
before me, because
So
I
this
do not
was-
remember this.
Unless
at
you
all.
watched the episodes before Azariah came on,
No,
then you wouldn't know.
no.
And
absolutely
well,
not.
I haven't expressly given all these details at the table at all, but it's been referenced a little bit. And so for Poppy, that was the biggest reason. She is out adventuring so that she can learn more about the world, because she doesn't want to be inexperienced and unable to help somebody and like be useless watching something happen. So that's why she has like researching curses on there.
Yeah.
Because it was like a dark magic was afflicting this woman and she couldn't do anything
Right.
about it.
So your response is to go, like, you can't do anything to fix it, but I guess it's like prevention for the future.
It's like broaden my horizons, go get educated more. Cause like Bee Grove is a small town. I've learned everything I could there. So it was like, okay, I need to go get exposed to new situations, to find out more. Cause like there's not the kind of people or resources in Bee Grove who could teach me anything about that.
So, like, it makes me think. So my line of thinking here is like, because I realize I have to think out loud for people to watch, but like people in the medical field and like doctors, you know, getting
continuing
a hand on the
education.
shoulder and like you did everything you could, call call time of death. It's part of the practice. Like people die, and it's just very unfortunate, but that's the way it goes. But your response was to go out and seek more answers. It actually makes me think of, and I don't know if you want to look at this or maybe emulate anything about it, but like there's an episode of House where his patient dies.
We already have one drug addict.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's one of his patients his patient dies, and he is so obsessed with what the objective truth is, what happened and what he should have done, that he does an autopsy on the body afterward in order to figure out exactly what went wrong. And so, like, I don't know if it makes sense for you to play into like that level of obsession, or to like take Poppy even further down any of your tropes. But
I
that's
left
kind
it
of what I think
personally
about.
open-ended also for Kyle to play with as like here's something fun of like, was it something like this could be a thread to be pulled or woven in later? Is this something demonic? Is this, because like as Poppy, there have been times where I'll ask people or we'll be in a library and I'll look for things that are about curses or healing things like this. And so it's kind of one of those things of like, if a thread pops up for me to pull, I'll follow it. But it hasn't been the main focus so far because she went out to broaden her horizons. And then, oh my God, all my friends are also here to answer this flyer. And then this happened. And then this happened. And I think there's also a clarification of like, Poppy is not a doctor. She's a midwife.
Mm-hmm.
She delivers babies. It's maternal care. And so it's very different for her of like, yeah, there's super unfortunate things that happen, but it's not common, especially not to lose both out of nowhere for a reason she doesn't understand. So I think it'll be interesting to see if it pops up again at some point. But it was more of just a reason to try to learn more and get out there.
Okay.
Does that impact Poppy's like beliefs at all? Because in the obviously in the game, like as a cleric, you are kind of midwife / nurse medic, and then also like you are essentially like acting as like a priestess or like a representative of your deity. So I wonder how like all of that sort of ties together in.
I haven't leaned as hard into the like deity relationship, which has been fun. I'm trying to explore that a little bit more recently.
Yeah.
But with Mordark's death and this death that had really affected me, the thing that bothered Poppy the most was it's not death. It's unnatural death or something that feels like this shouldn't be this person's end because Alamar isn't against death. It's very much like new beginnings. You remember those you've lost. But Poppy has something in her when she feels like this wasn't supposed to be how this story ends. This wasn't them getting ready to move on. That really bothers her.
Yeah.
And I'll also say with her changing focus once she met her friends was very much of like how Poppy acts most of the time in non-casual time is her being a midwife. Where she's like, what is the next solution? How do we move forward? How do we make a choice? Like, what's the next logical thing? And, like, when it comes to my stats, my intelligence is not high. My wisdom is very high. So Poppy acts on, and, like, her medicinal practice is more about, like, gut feelings and intuition about what's going on with somebody versus book learning. Where it's, like, Revel is very much, like, a book learning type of person. And Poppy is not that kind.
This is so.
She's more empathetic in how she practices medicine.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say like the word choices here is very ironic because in real life I'm a very logical and solutions oriented person. And in real life, you definitely lean on emotions, nuance, feeling, like facial expression, stuff like that. And I don't think that you're not a 100% reactionary person all the time, but I'm definitely playing a 100% reactionary person all the time. So it's fun that like.
And Poppy is much more logical. How do we make the next right decision? So it's like we're playing each other a little bit.
We're married. In case anyone on the stream didn't know,
we're married.
So it's interesting that we both have chosen to play our opposites.
Playing each other.
I'm getting played for sure. I know that much.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I will give a Poppy fun fact. Is a drinker.
Poppy Guinness, right?
That's what Poppy Guinness. That tin cup.
That tin cup.
No free ads.
Also, every time that we have drank, Poppy's constitution does great.
Lucky you.
She holds up.
Poppy's a brick house. She's like.
There's a reason I can wear this heavy armor.
Can I?
But should you though?
Should you?
Should I though? Other people can sneak, all right?
Yeah, you should. Someone should stay alive.
I chose to take his armor because I was like,
because you're 40 feet that trick.
I was like, I have to go take care of people. If I'm just getting downed in the beginning, I'm not gonna be able to do anything for anyone. And so I was like, I gotta wear this stupid armor.
Yeah.
And I'm an elf. So
that armor has been a problem for a while. It's like.
Yeah, you were great giving it to us, don't you?
It was, it was an early like DM mistake. I was like,
because my hit points are pretty high. Yeah. Or my armor class, is pretty high.
Yeah, the point of that whole encounter was to communicate that these were like rich kids with like they didn't have much skill, but they definitely had a nice bankroll. So they showed up in this like dope, like full plate armor, and then just got absolutely like.
And you forgot we could
shit-based.
loot.
Yeah, and then
Lose that armor.
they're like, "We're gonna loot that body." It's like, what? Stop.
Hey, so not trying to play MC or anything, but we actually do have a couple of questions in the chat.
Yeah, no, prioritize those questions. Let's go.
Okay.
Who's reading them?
So
DM Kyle.
I don't know what they are, so.
Rocket 452, which I think I didn't know who that is, but yeah, he said, "What's the difference between a cleric and a warlock?" I think for me at least, I think about a cleric is like somebody who has like made a very intentional decision about the deity or the supernatural power that they are sort of lending their life to, versus a warlock who is someone that's kind of been, they've kind of been found like at their lowest moment and made a decision, out of desperation, versus like I'm coming to my god or goddess because I believe that what they are about is amazing, spectacular, right? But a warlock has kind of probably just been like kicked in the teeth, and they're like, like shit's bad, and somebody shows up and like, hey, I could give you a little genie action.
I can see the similarities though. Of
Yeah.
Like, this is where I get my powers, but like one of them is under duress. Almost, it's like there's some manipulation.
Yeah.
Versus like gods exist, and like if you want to worship me, great. There can be a relationship. Versus you get found, and they're like, "You want some power? You're desperate." You're like, "Okay."
Yeah, they're definitely heavy on the toxic on the warlock side. But
we've talked about what if, Jimmy. I don't know if you've realized this or thought about this, but like the potential for Moradark to become a what's it called?
A warlock?
Yeah.
If I keep dying, like, yeah, probably they're like,
well, because you
probability's
have
high.
this like interesting relationship with a very powerful being, where it's like there could become a dynamic where Lorathiel becomes your like patron.
How does that work then? Is there a way for him to imbue magic to me, and then I gain additional properties and operate on his behalf?
Oh no, now we're tempting Jimmy.
Honestly, like he asked the question, like, what's the difference? And I'm like, Kyle can answer because I mentioned earlier, like, new D&D player. Couldn't tell you.
Half of us are very, like, Jimmy and I are very new players. Brittany, who plays Ainsora, is a brand new player, and then
Clark's pretty
Clark
experienced. Yeah.
is experienced, and then I'm having a really rough time tonight. Finley.
Yeah.
Finley is very experienced, and DMs, if you didn't catch him DMing a one-shot for us last week,
That was
he did a
amazing.
great job, and obviously Kyle's very experienced as well.
Spectacular.
Definitely worth checking out.
Kobold shenanigans.
Dude, Kobold Adventure is great.
So that's actually a good lead into the next question, though. But
I hope that answered your question.
wait. So Kay Dantas asks, do you feel like at some point in the campaign, some of you are going to go down a darker path, especially with the trapped Fae in the mirror? Like at some point, would there be PvP due to stuff like that?
I don't know.
I think if anyone's gonna throw hands, it's gonna be him. I think he's gonna lose his shit and then shoot an arrow at Lorathiel or something.
Oh yeah.
It's very possible. I mean,
I think we all have a little bit of a temptation. Like, there's a lot going on. We heard a lot from Ainsora, because we know that, like, she is technically half Fae. And so...
What?
Or not half Fae. I'm so sorry. She's half Elvish, half human.
Bro!
I'm having a hard time.
Yeah, that was like...
It's like, what?
it's about railroading
that.
people.
No. She's half human, which isn't accepted in nobility. So, like, she started to relate to the broken chain.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a potential. Obviously, Marcus is unhinged. Like,
Marcus is a wild card. He swung sort of from one thing to the next, but I feel like all of it's been like it makes sense for his character. Like he's made decisions that like in that moment make sense, but it has been like these wild swings from like
he has a like sad darkness of like he wants good things, but I feel like he could be pushed to do bad things really easily.
I feel like Marcus is the part of ourselves that's like we want so much good for everybody around us that we care about, but then we kind of like shit on ourselves and like we don't want what's good for ourselves, and that it hits me so hard, and I'm like, oh, just love yourself, man.
Just love yourself.
You deserve love.
I mean, we've almost had conflict within our group already.
Mm-hmm.
Even that like the last couple episodes deciding what we're gonna do. Like, are we going to warn them? Are we going to go back?
Yeah.
That was very tense.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Like, there's been definitive character growth in creating relationships within the group, but I feel definitive confrontation coming within the group, especially from that last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of the struggle of having this many characters.
Yeah.
There's a lot of opinions.
Yeah.
So a lot of characters with different viewpoints and different opinions and different histories that are trying to work as a group now on how to reconcile those pasts and those almost generational curses that they're trying to overcome to work as a group. You know, it's
they're new as a friend group and a party. Like even the three of us growing up together, it was like Marcus left really young, Mordark was in and out. So it's like we have that like we were childhood friends, but we haven't been friends recently.
Almost
so,
like you're in proximity to one another, so that gives you a connection. But
it's like a cousin you saw on holidays where you're like, yeah, of course, you're my cousin.
Yeah.
Great, let's hang out. And then you hang out and you're like,
implicitly trustworthy, right?
I feel like our group needs like in-game counseling before something awful
that's improv practice.
That's why we're here.
So there's one more question, and then I feel like we should probably defer to Liz so she can keep on the question train.
Okay.
Sure.
What's up?
Oh, D&D the YouTube channel. D&D YouTube dude, I hate your username. D&D YouTube the channel.
The Chanel. It's not channel.
That's right. Called you out.
Yeah.
Serious question, Kyle, how have we as players changed the world around us? You don't have to get into specifics, but definitely curious.
Oh, that is a
Jansporte.
Jansporte, yeah, for sure. Oh my goodness. I'm still trying to figure out if I can like get someone on like Etsy or something to like make a poppy like Jansporte backpack.
Dude, it just reminds me of going like to you go to any tourist destination, or I think about the touristy places in Puerto Rico that we went to, and people are like, well, embroider your name on this bracelet. It's it's that level, but it just says Poppy on the back.
So if it says Jansporte, it's got to have like the E with a tilde.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it makes me think of that episode of New Girl where it was like his dad, like Nick's dad, had bought a bunch of hats, and it's supposed to be the Chicago Bulls, but it's Chica Go Bulls. It's like this like complete just
scam of a hat.
I know a guy that can make the leather patch if you just want to get the.
Yeah, we just gotta find.
I gotta get a Jansport.
Yeah. Oh, it's got to be a Jansport.
But we have to add on
the E with a tilde.
With a tilde.
Yeah, and then get somebody to like sew it on and make it look cool.
Make it look cool.
But I think aside from Jansporte, I feel like the players and their decisions they've shaped the world, especially like this region, like being in the city of Arendor and having like these very important sort of both like political figures, but also people that are like, just in the social circles, like Dante and Althoro, like having interacted with them and, made them make choices has an impact on the world. Now, these aren't things that you guys are necessarily seeing right now. Like your characters aren't going to like have a immediate perspective on them, but they're things that are happening sort of like in the background or sort of aside from your current narrative that change the world for, you know, for the future, like what happens in later games and, you know, beyond. But that's one of those like late night I am writing and thinking about like what's happening in the Eldorian Alliance or on another continent. Like it has a ripple effect. But yeah, I don't know. It's a lot.
Interesting.
Finn's just full of very generalized questions.
Mm-hmm.
Have our backstories or our interactions in game as players change your perspectives? Change your
I
perspectives.
don't think players get to have questions if they're not here.
Yeah. Then you're cut off.
No, Finn's interacting in the chat,
Uh-huh.
which is always
Yes.
a good move.
I would, but apparently I don't know how to log into Twitch anymore, so there's that.
You can ask your questions
it's
in
rough.
person.
It's because you're 35 or older. That's the issue.
Twitch,
Yeah.
actually,
Well, I
you're
would-
not allowed to
I
use
would at
it.
least engage in the chat.
Yeah.
Wait, what did you say?
It's the old man curse.
He called you middle aged.
I'm not the oldest person at this table.
You turned 35 though, right? No, you
Not
turned
yet.
34. No, you are 34.
Uh-huh.
You're turning 35.
Yeah, I'm halfway to 70 in a few weeks.
That's why Twitch locked you out
Oh.
for being old.
Did you just realize that 35 is halfway to 70?
I guarantee you
No.
there's more old
It's-
people
You're like, no,
on
I've been
Twitch
thinking
than there
about
are
that.
young
I think-
people.
I was thinking about whenever
Come on.
we had
Balls.
False.
Yeah.
Probably.
we had
So
our issues
true.
with Twitch
RuneScape's
like
a
right
thing.
around
Yeah.
my birthday, and I'm like,
And I play it.
Am
Wait.
I old?
what is Twitch being like?
Do you?
What is it?
Ageist.
Is they ageist?
So yeah, Finn's question was: have our backstories or interactions in game as players changed your perspective as a DM? I don't really know what that means, but maybe you do.
I think so. If I'm understanding the question correctly, so
How
the
much have we
backstories-
screwed up your story?
I don't think there's a necessarily like, because
Oh
it.
my god!
What?
Sorry, Libby just texted us that she was trying to heat up green beans for James, but
Oh,
they
no.
keep catching fire in the microwave.
What is Libby doing?
Bro, what? She's catching our food on fire in the
don't know.
microwave?
How this is happening?
Well, if y'all end up homeless,
What is it?
we do have a spare room now.
Libby,
so-
use the stove, bro. Come on.
What is it called when your food comes out on fire? It's like
Flambe.
Flambe.
Yeah,
She's
flambe green
flambeing
beans
them.
for BB James.
In a microwave?
Yeah, boy.
Oh my
Get it.
Don't feed him the... Oh my gosh.
We'd
What a
be better
distraction.
off just fajiting those
Yeah.
green beans at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cast iron.
You get home, Baby James is like
Bread.
10 out of 10. This was amazing.
Amazing.
All right.
Okay.
I do want to address the
Mhm.
question from Jimmy's Big Toe.
Okay.
Have we-
You guys ever seen Saw?
No.
No.
I used to watch a lot of like scary movies and horror movies, but
Yeah,
I
I've
never
seen,
watched
I've seen
Saw.
plenty of them. I haven't seen the most recent ones, but yeah, I did.
The Saw movies?
I did like a Saw marathon.
I think I
They're
started
not
like
scary at
4.
all.
I don't
maybe.
like
They just have a level of
Gore.
intenseness that's just kind of like unnecessary, but you know, I get it.
this is
Yeah.
spiraling. You're right, Finn. I like suspense or like psychological thrillers. I don't
Yeah.
like gory movies.
I think it was a good concept as a film.
It's
And then
definitely
after the
sense-
first one, you see it and then you're
suspense.
like, cool,
Okay.
got it. The
Done.
rest of them are like, you know, it's like the Fast and Furious movies. Like after you've seen
What, you don't
one,
wanna
you kind of
play a
like,
game?
I get it. Not that game. No, absolutely not.
Wanna play a game?
I feel like we're playing a game with Finn being the Saw guy every time we step in this room.
That is
Yeah.
true.
Have you guys seen? Never mind.
Yeah, we're
We're chronically on live.
we're way
videos
off
here.
topic right now.
All right. So Poppy answered my question to her. So who you want to? I don't know. Are we playing like popcorn here? Do you want to
I
ask
thought I
something?
had already asked a question. What are the Shadowhawks? I
Oh.
don't know what this organization is. It gets referenced all the time, and I don't know anything.
Okay, well, this leads into an important question of how much do we want to divulge information that really hasn't come to light in game yet? Like, are
If
we
you are
going to? I personally do not care. Like, I would love
Okay.
for the viewers to know.
Yeah.
I'd love for the people at the table to know, but I don't want to mess with.
think you
Going back
can-
to Finn's question, I don't want to mess with the DM's plans or stories.
I mean, I think you can talk about it to the extent that you are knowledgeable. I don't think that there would be anything. There wouldn't be
So
anything.
don't talk
that
about
would-
the things that I don't
DM
know about.
answer.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah,
Or I
yeah.
mean-
So don't have freedom of creativity.
Talk about it from Azariah's perspective. Like,
Yeah.
you know, that's the.
Yeah.
I think that's more what Liz is asking.
So the Shadowhawks is kind of like a, I don't know, almost, if you will, like the SEAL team of the Eldorian military. They're
Okay.
kind of like the elite. They're picked for certain tasks, specifically behind like enemy lines or something that needs to be kind of kept quiet.
Okay.
I mean, they're used in general combat or wars as well.
General combat.
Oh, fuck your general shit.
Hey, when you
General
salute,
shit.
when you salute, it's just one hand, not two.
So, fuck it. I'm done with it.
That's
I've
the-
dealt with it for 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm done with it. Let's move
That's the
on.
Shadowhawk salute.
It's
Not canon.
It's canon.
Not canon. I refuse.
Oh
I'd
my
rather
God.
it be this than this.
Yes, Admiral.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they were just kind of like the elite. So they were usually handpicked to join. Oftentimes, members of the Shadowhawks were almost what's the term when like family has been a part of it? And you're kind of like
nepotism.
Legacy.
Oh,
legacy.
I thought you meant
Nepotism.
like nepotism.
No, he means like because my grandpa was in the military, then my dad was, and then I was, and then my kid will be. It's like
Kind of like in colleges where
I
you
dated
get
a
kind
guy
of get
like
like
Yeah.
you have an easier time getting in.
Yeah.
Kind of.
No,
because
that's
your fam-
nepotism.
Yeah. That is absolutely.
That
that's
part is
nepotism.
nepotism.
Okay, whatever.
But yeah, in this case, legacy, I think, is the word you're looking for.
Legacy,
Legacy, yeah.
yes.
I'm a blacksmith.
Much more
My dad
positive
was a
connotation.
blacksmith.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's essentially what they are.
Do you have to like apply? Do you go to a citadel? Like, how do you get chosen? Like,
You're
how do you-
usually just picked from. Usually, you're just a part of the Eldorian military to begin with, and through your performance and actions, you're kind of
get-
handpicked.
Gotcha. Okay.
And the guardian beasts of Eldoria are partners, so to speak, of the Shadowhawks. They are these various almost. I don't believe sentient's the right word. What's the word I'm looking for, Kyle?
Like awaken, or what are you talking about? Their
Like they have thought. They have
I think that's
Well, I mean,
sentient.
yeah,
Sentience.
beasts.
sentient.
Yeah, they're beasts, so they would have thought and intelligence. They're not like inanimate.
No.
Or,
So basically, like Thicket
Yeah.
was a member of almost a conclave of giant badgers and was chosen to become,
Hold on.
a representative.
There's
from the
more
conclave.
giant badgers.
Yes.
There's a
So-
conclave of
Yeah.
giant badgers out there.
Thicket 2, Thicket 3,
No.
Thicket 4, Thicket 5.
How old is Az?
thicker.
Oh yeah.
That's a great question. I don't have that in front of me. But
I'm like, okay, so it's like you.
I would put him in his late 30s, early 40s.
Okay, so
Okay.
you're probably the oldest in the group again.
Yes.
Yeah, you definitely are.
Well, he's seen combat. He's
I was gonna say, I was like, okay,
been
so like,
raised and trained and.
yeah, it's like you were in the army, you did well, you got picked, you're trained for this, you did this, and then remind me how you left or why you left. I know you kind of told us on the ship.
I parted ways with the Shadowhawks because of the death of my father. He was killed by a raiding band who we later discovered was a raiding band of Drow. And several of my friends from the Hawks decided to join me in kind of seeking revenge and retribution for that. And we tracked and traced this band of Drow into a series of caves. And we did not fare so well. Many of my companions died. And I became unconscious. Thought I died. But was saved by an individual who eventually taught me how to be more gloomstalkery.
So
and
this
from
is like
that,
a Batman.
Yikes.
that wasn't the
You went into the
inspiration, but yeah,
cave.
that wasn't the inspiration. But that's, I guess, that's
You were
that's
molded by the
appropriate.
darkness.
Yeah.
He was born in it.
Molded by it.
Clark's like, no.
But after that, he kind of just really had a problem with working as a group because he felt so much guilt associated with leading so many of his friends to death, and kind of.
So how was that one more dark?
And there was additional guilt associated with not wanting to go back to the Hawks after that, with that reputation,
Yeah.
and kind of set off on his own. After
So you're a deserter.
more or less, you know.
Is that so? Like, were you actually dismissed, or like, are you wanted by the Eldorian Alliance?
I don't know if I'd be necessarily wanted. I mean, none of my other companions came back, so I'd probably be presumed dead.
Okay.
I don't necessarily know. Like, I haven't run across any wanted posters, or I haven't been tracked or chased by bounty hunters specifically to bring me back.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that kind of military, so to speak, but
Because you had the one friend from the guard who recognized you.
Mhm.
Remember what was his name? Rorian or something like that?
Rodnian.
Rodnian recognized you, but the guard isn't the same thing as the Alliance. Is not the same thing as the Shadowhawks. So this guy's just like
He was a member of the Shadowhawks, though.
that guy.
He was one of
Okay.
my companions within the Shadowhawks that
Got
I
it.
worked with often. He was not part of the group that followed me
Got it.
after the drow. But yeah, so I still
That
felt
makes
that
a lot
sense
more
of
sense.
purpose to still defend those who cannot defend themselves.
Yeah.
So while I set out on my own travels, that was still kind of like a purpose, but also underlying there was that drive to still avenge my father, because that is still kind of something that is left incomplete, not incomplete. That's not a word, I don't think. And also chase down leads for my father's bow, which is
Which you
customarily would be passed down
Uh-huh.
when I reached a certain point within my career in the Hawks. That was a common tradition within the legacy of family in the Hawks, and that was taken from me. So my last lead is that the pirate captain Buster
I think that makes more
has
sense.
knowledge.
But
of
like
what
you
it
think
is.
about military people, and it's like after you leave a military career, it can be hard to do other things. And so finding this random group of people, it's a little bit more realistic for why he would be like, yeah, I'll fight with you guys. I'll go after this, because it's like needing that larger sense of purpose. How does Buster fit into this?
Buster is the last known individual. I received information that Buster either has or has at some point had possession of my father's bow.
Okay.
And
okay,
so
Hunting the bow.
Hence the desire to take contracts to hunt down pirates.
Dude, I got
Hence
you a really
my
fancy
situa-
bow.
Yeah, well, and I love that bow. But
You whisper to it.
there's still, that desire to have my father's bow, whether or not it may be, better in any standard, it's still my father's bow.
Yeah.
There's a sense of desire to have
Makes sense.
that. And meeting this group and learning more about what y'all are carrying and what y'all are trying to do or trying to figure out what to do lends a lot into why Thicket is still with me, because typically there's a bond that has to be created with a guardian, and typically after your time in service with the Hawks ends, that guardian beast, that bond is severed. It has been rendered complete, and so they then go off and bond with another Hawk.
But Thicket
But-
doesn't feel like you're complete with your
Thicket, when it came time to I was parting ways with the Hawks, Thicket should have severed that bond, but he refused because he did not feel like my purpose had been fulfilled yet.
There we go.
And at first I thought that was just chasing down my father's bow, but now I'm beginning to think that there's more to it with this conflicts in play.
What kind
Nice.
of being is Thicket? Is Thicket aware of the larger forces at play in the world?
Well, the DM could probably answer this a little bit better. Thicket is no longer necessarily of the material plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
He,
is.
he lives on the ethereal plane, so he's a little ghosty when he's not.
Is it Ghosty Hedgehog?
Kind of.
Badger.
Same thing.
Such different animals.
They
Ghosty
are-
Beaver?
And to be clear, Thicket
Getting
has
warmer.
not come out yet because the Guardian Beasts are typically more known
Mm.
and have a specific reputation, but Azariah doesn't really want that
Mhm.
Yeah.
when in big towns. So
Yeah. That makes sense.
there was an immense desire to allow Thicket free reign while we're in this big old town and draw all this attention.
Have you read the book Fourth Wing? Or what's the following? What's
Fifth
the book
Wing?
after? What's the book that comes after Fourth Wing? Is
Well,
it both for?
I haven't
Iron
read Fourth
Flame.
Wing, so I don't know.
So it's barking up the same tree of what you guys have. Basically, it's a military college, and you get paired up with, if you
dragon.
survive it, if you survive the college, and you survive getting chosen by a dragon, you get paired up with the dragon, and it's you and your bonded pair of dragons to go to fight for the military.
Mhm.
And so you could, if you go get it on Audible or something, you could probably draw a lot of really good inspiration to put Thicket into more play and more story, just based off of what's inside of that book, because it's very, very dramatic.
An interesting thing that they do is, if your dragon were to die, you would die. But if you die, your dragon can move on, unless you have like a very intense bond.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
Well, yes,
a rider only
technically,
has one dragon.
technically, my death would sever the bond
tie,
with
yeah.
Thicket.
And
It would not kill Thicket.
Yeah, But if Thicket died,
if
like,
he
in this
dies, he
scenario, it would
returns
kill
to the
you.
ethereal plane to rest.
Dude just gets respawns? No fair.
Yeah.
Mine cost me a diamond.
gosh.
Hey, you want to become a guardian beast? You can always.
Yeah, do you want to
know.
be trapped in a necklace?
What is with you and your tongue? Not every character needs a tongue movement. That's disgusting.
You keep that in your mouth.
Keep that in your mouth.
Nice.
We're gonna
Do
get
you
you one of
think-
those Bane masks just so that you can do
A
whatever you
muzzle?
want with your tongue, but we'll never see it again.
Some say legends never die.
Clark, do you think
Tongue
that
comes out the side.
realizing that your character probably has like 6 to 10 years on the rest of us will influence how the dynamic is played?
It's definitely already influenced it a
Yeah.
little bit. I mean, as Azariah still has that difficulty being a part of a group that he's very new to. He doesn't feel that desire to try to step in and take over in areas where he might know better or have more experience in. Even in the Shadowhawks, he technically wasn't really a leader. And so, that's something difficult that he deals with on a regular basis because it's still
Like
still
the lack
new.
of structure?
Yeah, well, there's the lack of structure, and it's all just still very new.
Yeah.
Like he's still learning y'all. He's still getting to know y'all, and every time he feels like he's making steps forward, to understanding the group, another group member joins, and so it kind of resets
I think we're
that
done
process.
with that, though. I think we're done adding new people.
I know that. Azariah doesn't know that.
Like, who else is going to show up?
Exactly. There's not really room for more chairs, but every time we come here, Kyle's rearranged the room, so who knows what the table will look like next week. So,
Actually, next week we're getting a second DM.
Mhm.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, auxiliary DM.
Kyle,
Dueling
Kyle's
DMs.
understudy.
Dueling DMs, yeah.
Dueling
like dueling
DMs.
pianos.
There's a lot of room back here. Like,
But yeah, that
You want a
definitely
buddy?
I'm lonely.
definitely impacts thought process a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clark's turn.
Clark, you're up. Asia, Australia,
Questions.
Antarctica.
What?
Europe.
I wasn't sure where that was.
Yeah,
Wow.
I
That's-
don't understand
I've heard
why
that
the
joke
countries were.
17 times before from him.
Is
so.
it just as confusing as day one?
No.
No.
18.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't
Feel
want to be
bad.
around anymore.
We can kill off your character again. Quick,
Stop.
one shot.
One shot to my shoulder. One shot to my back. That's all it took from you.
Oh.
It really did.
Fight.
Is that That's not recorded, so that's not.
No, it's not.
Anywhere.
No one knows that.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not. I wish that was though, because that was a really fun game.
First gameplay with
Casting.
Azariah and Mordark. Azariah puts a arrow in Mordark's shoulder and renders him completely unconscious. in
I
one go.
swear it was his butt.
I think it was his butt too.
I remember it being his butt.
Yeah.
I don't remember what happened, but it definitely was his butt. Because that's funnier.
Something happened to your butt.
There's a Forrest Gump quote in here somewhere.
Yeah, and for some odd reason, it just slid right in like it was nothing.
Ew.
Wow.
It's an arrow!
Wow.
It's sharp!
Oh, I get it. It's because you're green like Shrek. You got shot in the butt with an arrow. It's a Shrek reference.
Yeah.
I think Clark's asking a question.
I had questions,
Clark,
but
ask
I
a
seem
question.
to
Ask
have
your
lost them. Mostly because
Where am I?
for some odd reason, I thought Poppy was a paladin.
You said
And-
that forever ago.
Yeah.
It's the armor.
Like the armor gets people.
And no one corrected me.
No.
And that's rather upsetting that no one corrected me, and I've just continued to run with that thought process.
What? Okay. What did you think my oath was?
Well, see, that's where I was going to go with my next question.
What's your oath? I'm
Which-
not a paladin.
Well, it wasn't going to be about your oath specifically, but I was going to ask. Well, yes, but I wasn't going to ask what your oath is. I was going to ask, how is Poppy being a paladin and having an oath? How is
That's
Poppy
not-
rendering
No.
like the current decision-making process that we have with our no-win scenario?
Yeah.
But obviously, you're not a paladin, so I guess there's not really much reason associated with that. That'd be better for Sora if she were here, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
For Poppy, she's processing it like she's in go mode. She's in there's like midwife training. There are things to be done. What is the weigh the outcomes and what makes the most sense for right now and go with it.
So, following the conversation at the Temple of Alamar,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that was a point where Poppy got sort of challenged for the first time on her decision making, because I feel like most of it has been Poppy being this very, I won't say steady, but kind of like the moral compass for the group and the unofficial decision maker. Everybody kind of follows Poppy, not as I'm gonna display all these leadership qualities and people should follow me, but it was just this inherent trust. It was yeah, she's probably got the right idea.
Can we just all get on the same page here? We all know that Mordark's the leader, right?
no.
Sure.
Azariah definitely does not see Mordark as a leader. He
No
doesn't
one
necessarily
sees
believe
it.
Poppy is the leader, but she is the person who seems to be the most level-headed out of the people that have the most tenure within this group. Revel has 0 experience adventuring. Sora doesn't seem to have any. You clearly don't even know how to be a rogue, so there's that issue.
That's me
Marcus
as
is
a player's
drug
fault.
addict. I feel like Revel is too
Mordark is
logical.
too
He
drug
doesn't
infused.
consider the worldly application of decisions. He's he's too black and white, and I feel like Sora can be too feeling,
Mhm.
and not so much about the logistics of something. Not always in a bad way.
Yeah.
But thinking about them making leadership decisions. He states facts, and she is really good at stating, at observing what's going on and stating the picture, which I think is very helpful in the group. I think she's very big picture, but very much okay, let's just help people.
Revel's gameplay stresses me out. Not because he's doing anything wrong, but he's playing his character. And so his character is what do you mean? We just crack the whip and then we ride off into the sunset. And next thing I know, I've got 8 arrows in me. I'm you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Your gameplay stresses the hell out of me.
Yeah. I guess it's...
Especially after you've died. Shit hits the fan, you immediately go
Also,
to this
you
fey
drove.
creature in a mirror.
You were driving.
No. No, I was in the carriage.
Yeah.
Really?
Rebel was driving the
Rebel was
carriage.
driving.
I thought he was on top of it.
Well, he was in the front seat, in the
He
driver's
was
seat.
on top. No, he said he was on top.
And
He very
Sora was in
specifically
the
stated
thing.
that he was on top.
Somebody needs to go back. He said,
Yikes.
I'm like sitting up on top. He was not driving.
Well, this was
because you rolled.
He said
who
he was
rolled
riding
40?
like.
Who rolled the 5?
Oh, for survival?
Crisscross.
right.
I rolled the 5 for survival. So I was driving?
Thank
Yikes.
you.
Well, I think
I didn't even
Rebel
know I
was
was
driving because of his animal handling. He was driving the actual
I
carriage.
thought at that point you told us that animal handling wasn't needed because these were well-trained horses.
I definitely remember.
This is very interesting.
I definitely remember Revel stating that he was sitting on top of the carriage.
Yeah.
I mean, we know that too, yeah, because of the blue
Yeah.
shield and everything up on top.
Yeah.
I think I
it
may
was
have
like,
said that for him, because of his skill with animal handling, he didn't need to check it.
which is
to do
what
a
made
check.
the whole
Interesting.
situation of
Yeah.
like someone having a knife at him even more interesting because they had to get on top of the carriage. But
Yeah, in my
Mhm.
head, he's on top of like the canvas caravan. Einsor's in there. Mordark and Marcus are driving.
they said it was an actual carriage and not like a
Yeah,
covered
it's a
wagon.
carriage, so
I don't know
it's
why
a
it's got a
solid.
covered wagon in my head. It's like
It
an
was-
old Western
It
covered
was for
wagon.
me, but I had to clarify that.
Uh-huh.
And they said it was literally like an enclosed cabin, so it made sense for Revel to ride on top of a solid
Yeah.
Yeah.
surface.
But
This is
definitely
interesting.
definitely the economy carriage and not like a super fancy one.
Interesting.
But
okay.
yeah, no,
were-
Mordark survival,
Uh-huh.
and then Revel was driving. So
Mhm.
Revel had the animal handling to not necessitate a check, and Mordark was like, I can find the path. So he was navigating essentially in.
Interesting. Okay, that totally changes how I envisioned that happening.
Yeah.
You were saying something about the interaction with the priestess being the first time that Poppy was challenged on her morals.
Yeah.
What was your...
No, I was just wondering what was Poppy thinking and feeling following that conversation, because I feel like going into it, her mindset was just like, whatever needs to happen,
Yeah.
Mordark needs to come back. Like everything else is.
I think it definitely felt like a decision time of like, ooh, do I defect from what I say I believe in to follow my gut, or what am I going to do? But I think it was more of a grounding conversation for Poppy, leaving that of like a reminder of who I am. Especially being far away from home for the first time is very much a reminder of like, this is what I've grown up in. This is my tradition. This is my my practice, and it was grounding for her. And like, this is what I'm actually pursuing. And I think it was definitely a choice of her being like, I don't like that, so I could just defect. But no, it was more of a grounding experience walking away. Of like good, what's the word? Not discipline, but receiving like hard feedback from someone who you know has your best interest in mind or cares about you. Of like,
Yeah.
it's not completely comfortable, but it's also not painful in the same way as like someone just criticizing you. It's like okay, I've been pushed back onto my path.
Chastised?
Kind of, yeah.
I think
I
chastisement
think discipline in
used to be like the hook that you used to pull the sheep's head, right?
Mm.
To get it back on to the path.
I
I'm pretty, like, biblically, I'm pretty sure that's what
yeah,
that
it's
word
not
meant.
chastise. It's discipline. In the Bible, talking about discipline, and the rods and canes are used for sheep. So it's more of that, not chastisement, but discipline, like loving discipline, not like you're bad.
One question for DM Kyle.
What's up?
You may not be able to answer this, and that's okay. What is your ultimate goal for the group in presenting a no-win scenario?
Why'd you do that? Why the heck did you do that?
So
Can you answer that without like?
Yeah. I think one of the things that I learned, like, about like DMing and like how to create like compelling situations, and this was like something that me and my buddy Brady had talked about, which all of y'all met Brady. So anyway, but creating problems without solutions whenever you like introduce a new scenario, you don't want to think, oh, like this is the the win criteria, or this is like how the characters like come to the next step in this campaign or this journey. But instead, you think about, you know, problems, and they might be things that you are kind of like currently struggling with, like, you know, this idea of like social structures and like how we're sort of like exploring and unpacking that and the implications. And then you place that problem within the context of this fantasy world, and you present it to the players in a way that says like, hey, like, what are your characters going to do about this? And let them, as the players, sort of creatively and emotionally like drive towards the outcome that they want to see happen, as opposed to saying like, here's a problem, and the way that you like fix this problem is by doing XYZ, kind of like in a video game where it's like there's a very specific prescribed solution. But this is, you know, there's certainly like I don't know, there's like milestones or checkpoints, but there's not a singular like, once you get to this outcome, like, you guys have done the thing. It's like the outcome is going to be based on, you know, the decisions that y'all make. So I don't know if that answers your question, but
Yeah, essentially, there is no right or wrong answer, but it kind of forces us in no position to where we have to morally agree on the decision.
Yeah.
And move forward with it. And it's not like there's a clear line of sight on where to go, and we can just easily rectify where we want to be or where we should be. This is just, any answer could be a good answer. Any answer could be a bad answer. Now we got to get on the same page about it.
Yeah.
Which helps us become closer as a group.
Are you saying that the goal, your goal, is to get us to wrestle with the problem?
yes, I want the character should struggle. Like, I don't think that it's interesting to have a problem that's just like black and white all the time, and, you know, an easy like, yeah, we should do this because this is happening. Like, it should definitely be like, wait, we need to stop and think about this. Like, it's like, if we get involved, like, will we make things worse, or like, but there's also the idea that we're playing D&D, which is it's a heroic fantasy genre. So in a sense, and you can have like evil campaigns and things like that, but in a certain sense, it's like whatever it is that you guys decide to do, after the history is told, if you are quote unquote successful, you will be considered the heroes. So what you do will be considered the right thing. And I think that's a that's a safe way for me to say, like, your decisions, within reason, will be like looked upon as, you know, positive. Like, unless you guys just be like, you know what, I actually think that slavery is pretty good. Actually, it's pretty chill, and just go, you know, that route. Which you can totally do. You have player agency and all that.
I straight up thought about figuring out how to get those kids to start a business. Like, when we were about to leave, I can't remember where it was, but it was the kid who's gonna like make our jacket and stuff. And like, they seem pretty
Arendorf?
like, yes, Arendorf. So they seem pretty like shifty / entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do I give these kids like 1,000 gold and tell them to like build a sweatshop and like start a like FUBU or something like that, right? Like,
Dude, 1,000 gold in that part of Arendorf is like, that's
I'm basically buying that
life-changing.
section of Arendorf, right? So like, okay, not slavery, because I think we all know slavery bad, right? But employment.
Mm-hmm.
But first,
Stop.
forced work at low wages.
Yeah.
Exploited.
Well, I'm not
laborers.
forcing them; they opted into it, right?
Exploited
Before-
underage kids.
They definitely underage for
Before
sure.
we go down that rabbit hole, which we can totally do if you want.
I've been thinking. The long story short, just really quick, just to wrap up my point, is like I have been looking at how can I start little pocket businesses.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
You're stealing Vola's.
Get it?
What?
You're stealing Vola's.
Oh,
Thing.
she's not even in this world.
No, she's
Yet.
not. She's in another world, investing in bars.
Mm-hmm.
The way that I kind of interpret that more about like gameplay overall is like if this is a long-standing campaign that we're streaming.
Mhm.
We want interesting characters and stories. I think it's really easy in things like we played a kobold like dungeon crawl.
Yeah.
It's like, how do I make the best like gamified decision? Like you're min-maxing character, like you're doing things like that.
Yeah.
And when you go in interactions where you can make the optimized decision,
Yeah.
like that becomes how you are good at it, how you have a good session, how you enjoy the game is like, oh, how efficiently did we beat that person? How well did we get out? And having situations where that basically isn't an option forces you to revert back to like, it isn't about how efficiently can we solve this problem. It's about how are these characters interacting with the world? And it kind of forces us to like just be characters interacting because you're not going to win.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to make the good decision because there isn't one. You can only focus on building this world with your character and building your character with this world.
It's kind of like
So-
a Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Like Seinfeld's a show about nothing. Like we have a show about something, right?
Mhm.
Heroism and fantasy world, but like Seinfeld, like he doesn't eventually end up somewhere with a big like goal. It's just telling stories about everyday life.
Because like you'd be like, oh, nobody took damage, and we got through combat in this many rounds, and we looted, and we remembered to check for traps, and you're like, yeah, we did a good job.
Yeah.
And doing that over and over again, you start to like prioritize that and forget about your character. So it not being an option to focus on, because that's what basically we started trying to do. Because we've had a few conflicts like recently, which has been good. Of like, oh yeah, we get to play, we get to hit people, we get to whatever. And then this time, most of our argument has been over like, okay, how do we warn them, but also get out of here, but also complete this mission, but also do this? And it's like, you can't. Like, that's our argument was, how do we do all the things that we want to? And it's like, you can't.
And also rectify or reconcile the ultimate group decision with your character's, morality or, stance upon life and things. Like, I know personally Azariah is going to have a horrible time with all of this.
Yeah.
And it could very potentially hurt his overall overview of individuals within the group, because no matter which way you look at it, people are going to die.
Yeah, it's not
And,
good.
and people that don't deserve to die will die.
So the message that you put out into the chat when you weren't able to make it, but the message you put out was, we should do this decision because protect the innocent. Like, okay, protect the innocent. So how did you see through the frame or filter of protect the innocent? Ideally, what would you have done in that scenario if it were 100% up to you?
I mean, ultimately, my goal would be to try to work with the broken chain and trying to come up with a better solution that didn't involve mass murder. Because obviously their goal was to remove the current hierarchy because they're corrupt, and then just allow the people to govern themselves. But throughout history, if you do that, all you're doing is leaving a void for more corrupt individuals to take hold of that power, and you're just going to have potentially even worse individuals take power over the people that rightly deserve to have power.
Because
And
if
so
you take
if
away
you're
the
not,
organization, the only organization left is organized crime.
is
usually.
there a way to strategically dismantle what's already there and instill leaders that are more deserving and morally correct, to do that, and hopefully encourage them to do something along those lines. And if they're unwilling, while their motives are just, like their goal is just, their methods are not, because it's going to yield innocents who cannot protect themselves being dead.
Yeah.
And so Azariah would fall on the side of protecting the towns.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, while they have an ultimate goal, like they have the right purpose, but the wrong execution, that's going to yield in too much unnecessary death.
So
I think that's where most of us feel, and then it's like, oh, yeah, we get it, there's shitty people, but like this is
Yeah.
not the way to do it.
Yeah.
And then our disagreements have been like, how do we implement that? Poppy's like, yeah, we have one faction of this huge revolution. We're not going to convince them to change their like. One, this guy's not a decision maker. He's
He's
not
an-
even a
he's an
general.
like
he's
an
just
implementer.
yeah.
Yeah,
He's
I mean, I would
somebody
just
that's
try
that.
to encourage them to wait. Like,
Yeah.
you're ready to go now. You can be ready to go a week from now. You can be ready to go a month from now.
Yeah.
But can we sit down with your leadership? Like, we want to support you. We want to see you succeed. Can
We
we
want
sit
to-
down and come up with the best way? Because we're all for this change. I've seen it in too many towns. I've seen it in too many cities. I've seen it in too many wars.
Yeah.
You know, I'm pretty sure Azariah would have had missions that specifically removed corrupt individuals from hierarchy in the past.
Yeah.
And so, you know, can I sit down with your leadership and discuss a better way to do this? And if we cannot come up with it, fine, go ahead and do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Leave
Yeah.
your group where it is. They'll be ready to go a month from now. They'll be ready to go a week from now. Like, there's no reason why we can't just take a few moments and try to come up with a situation that doesn't involve thousands of dead people.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
think
I
like
would
if
do.
you're planning to assault a city, it's like part of their plan was, free this caravan, the gates will be open, and then they can get in. Asking them like, hey, you've strategized and planned to attack this city on this day with this opening. Asking them to not do it is not realistic in my opinion.
I mean, hell, Azariah has
But this
experience
is
doing
D&D.
this.
You can roll persuade. You can roll a nat 20 on persuasion, and because I think Revel also is like, this never goes well. You guys should make a smarter decision, which is the same. Sora is like, this, like, I understand why you're trying to do this, but she is, I feel like, more neutral. Like, she's trying to, what's the word? She's like playing along to try to minimize blood loss. She's like, yeah sure, like, I'll get you connected to somebody. Just like, she's trying to appease things as much as she can.
I mean, I feel like Azariah would even offer to use his experience to help lead a core group of the Broken Chain to remove the corrupt hierarchy without an all-out war and help identify the correct individuals to take power.
Yeah.
You know, I would gladly help in that insurgent force if it meant not killing hundreds or
I think it's very
thousands
interesting
of
'cause
individuals.
You've not only
They've-
given us a non-winnable situation, you've given us a non-winnable situation about very, very difficult topics.
And they have.
It wasn't like, oh, you can't make it to Annie's party and over here to the opening of what. It's like, do these people die, or is slavery okay, or
On the
is
flip
corrupt
side-
power? It's like, whoa.
They will have to prove to Azariah that these
Is it
individuals
okay?
are truly corrupt before he's willing to do
It's like,
that,
is
too.
killing these
Yeah.
people, are they innocent or are they not because they're racist? But they didn't hurt anybody. So it's like, do they deserve to die because they're racist? Or do they,
No,
it's
no,
like,
no.
these
They
are
don't-
really heavy
They
topics.
don't deserve to die because they're racist. I understand where
Mordor's
Mordor's coming from on
He's like,
things,
man.
but I do not believe racism outright deserves
Death.
mass
I don't think
death.
I don't think it's a death sentence. I don't think that's.
I think it deserves like cutting out their tongues, maybe.
So
but-
is this all essentially a play on the trolley problem?
A little bit, yeah. But it's also like they have invited you. Like they were like, yeah, we want your help. We want your input.
I gotta take a break.
And they specifically stated that when it comes to like Sora and Rebel, like them being involved and adding to it would lead to less bloodshed ultimately. So
Yeah.
they're alluding to the fact that we don't want to like we want less hurt. Like we want to create an environment where, you know, people do feel like safe and seen and comfortable. But all people feel that way. And so they're trying to do it with the least amount of bloodshed, but it's like if the option is less bloodshed and it doesn't get done, or more bloodshed and it does get done, then they're going to opt for the more and getting it done because they're kind of like, you know, this is where we are, and
I think the players at the table, it's like, yes, we're playing a fantasy game, but I think at the table, it's hard for people to accept the reality of, like, it's a revolution. These are people who are willing to kill people. Also, we kill people often. Being like, oh, what? You want to overthrow the government? Don't kill anybody while you're doing it. It's like, there's a reality of war that I think all of our characters, like, this is not a fuzzy world. I don't think any of our characters... I don't think it's realistic for any of us to be pacifists about a revolution and expect them not to kill anybody. But that is hard to put into play as we don't come into the reality of like killing people like that very often. So it makes sense that at the table we're like, what? No, don't kill. It's like, honestly, our characters are probably a lot more comfortable with death and the reality that war takes lives than we are. I think that's been a complication for player into character decisions about this.
It's literally like, now that I'm thinking about it, you have literally given us the trolley problem almost exactly, where
people die no matter what. How many people die?
Yes.
And how?
And so in the trolley problem, there's A, B, and C. A is like, it's going to go down path A and it's going to kill 5 people. You can intentionally pull the lever and it'll shift the tracks to go onto track B, where it will definitively kill 1 person.
Before, somebody else was killing those people. You've now made a choice, and essentially you're killing this other person.
It is essentially like you are saying that person will die because of your direct actions. The idea is that you've got a net gain of 5 lives, but there's also the like morals and ethics of like, I have decided that 1 person should die. Like,
also, if you stand by and watch the trolley kill the 5 people, are you responsible because you saw and did
because you
nothing?
had the opportunity to do something and chose not to act.
I had someone recently tell me that there's like...
That's option C.
There's a lot that is communicated in not saying anything. Like when you... Like silence says a lot. So like not responding to an issue that you can see is also a response to an issue. So... It's like with the trolley problem.
Don't say that with my wife at the table.
Do you know what Jimmy said the other day?
I've been in that situation very recently.
I said something to Jimmy the other day, and he walked away and said, I'm choosing not to say anything. And I was like, you're saying something. That's a response. Because you're not staying silent. You're letting me know, I have something I want to say because I don't like that, but I'm not saying it. You might as well have said something.
If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything.
Oh my gosh.
That's,
That's funny.
But I didn't think about a trolley problem. But I guess that is
No, I went and looked at the diagram again. I was like, this is the trolley problem.
Cool. That's the dream, right?
So you can title the next episode that.
The trolley,
The trolley problem.
The trolley problem.
I will say though, with Azariah's experience in war, he does not have a problem pulling that lever to shift the trolley to kill 1 individual instead of 5. Especially if, it's a difference of 4 of those 5 are innocent bystanders, and the 1 individual is corrupt.
It's like Rebel's dad. Like Rebel's dad, super corrupt, super racist. He has a son that he loves. Like, does he deserve to die? Probably. He was a dick to me. I don't know.
But it sounds like they're all for, like, they believe Einsora's father is a good individual and a good potential leader. So I would love to be like, okay, if these individuals are truly corrupt, let's lead a task force to remove them and speak with Einsora's father beforehand and see if he's willing to step in and fulfill the role of leadership.
Something in the back of my head is like, we have a very powerful object, and these are people essentially looking to start a war, and it's like, this is the danger. These are the people we don't want to give the item, and so getting further involved in their mission is kind of like,
we absolutely need to get you away from them, like, ASAP. I think if Azariah had actually been present during that session, he would not have allowed Poppy, or he would have tried to prevent Poppy from walking into an encampment full of
that was kind of a weird. I was like, you're not actually here. All of my friends are somewhere else. I can't communicate with them.
You wouldn't have known that though, as a character.
The crazy part is like,
because he
did
told
Lorathiel not inform us of that? I'm pretty sure he did.
Duh, never mind. Oh.
It's like also Lorathiel came to get me. I'm like,
I know
can't just
she's
wait.
holding this very
Hmm.
catastrophic item, and Lorathriel's informed us of what we're potentially walking into. There's absolutely no way I would have been like, yeah, let's just walk right in there.
It's like
They've already-
there's a broken chain trying to like have a revolution, and then there's this underlying feeling of like, is there going to be a second Fey Rift War? Who would potentially want to do that? Oh, something I was thinking about earlier is like, it's very interesting because all of us sympathize more with the broken chain, except for Marcus, who they directly want for some reason. He's the one who's like, no! And
He's their
we
chosen.
talked about this. I literally afterwards, I was like, I wasn't there. I couldn't say anything. But I was talking to us after gameplay. I was like, they kept calling you the chosen one, and nobody said, "What do you mean he's the chosen one?"
I was freaking out.
I was too.
I was
It's like-
absolutely freaking out.
We still don't know, and I wasn't there, so I can't ask. I can't metagame.
I was like, why is nobody addressing
We're
this
like,
statement
how
right
did they
now?
keep finding you in prison cells and trying to recruit you? You're a random drug addict criminal. You're nobody.
They
And
were
then they're
running
calling
tests on you. They were torturing you.
you. Now
Like,
they're
what?
calling you the chosen one, and you're not asking any questions. This is very odd.
Yeah,
We know
Mordark would
we know
never
you're
have-
listening, Finn.
Mordark would never have asked a question like that.
I feel like he.
I absolutely
This is your
would have.
shit-eating friend, and
Mhm.
someone's like, "You're the chosen one."
He would at
I
least
feel
give
like-
shit
stealing your
for it.
limelight.
If
Why
somebody
would you
went
not
up to
question it?
Finn, if somebody went up to Finn in real life and called him the chosen one, I'd be like, "Oh, the chosen one." That's not
You're
something
like,
I would miss.
"Dummy."
I'd make fun of him for it. I'd be like, "What
Yeah.
are you talking about? Have you met him?"
Idiot.
Idiot.
Yeah, I'll probably say it to Marcus as a joke, but Mordark's he's not thinking along the lines of like, someone else is important in social matter. Like that's not
I don't
even-
think you'd ask a question about it, but I don't think that you wouldn't notice that he got called it.
Oh, I noticed it for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. We'll see how that surfaces in the next few
Yeah, I
games.
was literally, I was listening and I was like, where the hell did this come from? Why is nobody else surprised right now? Why is nobody confronting this?
Yeah.
Kyle,
We
can you
need to
just-
know more.
Can you just tell us that all these threads do
Nope.
make sense
No, he can't.
eventually?
No, come on. Don't
Just
ruin
tell me
this
that
That's-
it
for
makes
us.
sense
No,
eventually.
Kyle, shut up.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Because right now, it's just a
And that
mess.
concludes our AMA session for the evening.
Don't.
Tune
I
in
can't
next week
handle
to
this.
figure out what happens.
Okay.
My
okay,
problem is I
but-
get to this point in a book and then I speed read the rest of. I can't just keep. I need to understand what's happening.
happening.
No,
I
I
need
love
to
this-
look up the spoilers.
Like, I hate the suspense. Like, I
Oh.
have absolute faith in Kyle's storytelling. Like, there's no way he would have just thrown us into this no-win situation without it having some kind of important impact upon the story.
Well, I'm just
Bro,
thinking
that's
about
the
like.
thing is that it doesn't.
Whether it's character development and group development for the collectors, or it
He said
actually pertains to the story.
Like-
yes, I still hate it, but like we're
Not
just
just
gonna roll
this
with it.
situation. I'm like, there's the broken chain, there's the onyx claw, there's the Fey Rift War,
Obsidian
there's the
claw.
Obsidious claw.
Obsidious claw. There's like all of these, and I'm like, how do these go
I
together?
don't know. We left the fucking town without answering half of these questions.
Okay.
Uh,
So that's
Sorry.
my
No,
question
it's-
for Kyle, and I think that you asked Kyle a question. Kyle, popcorn definition says you ask a question.
what?
Okay,
Yeah, that's how you play popcorn.
that is
technically.
true. Okay, so
But Jimmy has a question, so ask him something.
Originally, when I was like roll initiative, it's like I don't remember if I asked Clark his question.
No, you haven't asked
No.
me a question
I
yet.
thought
But
you
I
did.
asked you your question. I had a question for each of you, but obviously it's your turn, so go nuts.
For reasons.
For
all right.
reasons.
So I don't know if y'all two have watched the death scene with Mordark, but your interaction with the entity, like beyond the veil, Mordark, he doesn't remember all of it, but I still wonder, like, is Mordark impacted by that in a way that is more like he's traumatized by it, or is it he's impacted by it in the fact that like he has new information and now he wants to like his goals are still the same, but now he has new information and he needs to go about his goals a different way.
It's like a 10 to 20 degree shift. So like Marcus was a great example where he literally confessed to it. Finn, the player, confessed to it in discussion that like he's swinging like a pendulum. One answer or one decision he's over here, another decision he's over here. And he doesn't know, is it this way? Is it that way? Is it north? Is it south? Like whatever.
Yeah.
This is like a 10 degree shift for Moradark, where it was previously just like run 100% in the direction of your thoughts, feelings, emotions, and wants and desires.
Yeah.
And now it's like, before I take that step, there was that thing, and it'll either like weigh heavy enough to be like, oh no, I need to consider the thing,
Yeah.
or it'll be like, yeah, I want that. Like,
Yeah.
so it's a shift, not it's a partial shift, not a 180 degree spin. So yeah, it's affecting decision making, but it's not affecting outcomes 100% of the time. If that makes sense.
So I would say it probably falls into the realm of like trauma then, because it creates like a weight or like a something that sort of like slows your decision making, or there's a inherent fear of, well, like, you know what I mean? But
You're not like reformed.
I'm not definitely not reformed. Not that there was anything wrong with me in
Just
the first
a little
place.
bit like you went to Scare
There's plenty
Straight.
wrong with you.
Yeah, it's literally like, and I really am trying to play this as like how a person would actually respond to this. Like, so a lot of people don't know this, but I have actually like been in a really serious accident, and Clark might empathize with this as well. Like, you still ride a motorcycle despite having gone down on a motorcycle. I don't ride a motorcycle right now, but I've been in a really serious motorcycle accident, and the way that you look at things afterward is like, wow, that actually was really serious. That's not going to stop me from doing dangerous things, but it's really going to make me think twice before I do it. I'll still go do it, but I'm going to calculate and weigh it a little more first.
Like you can't see things the way you did before.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or I've been given this new like lens or filter on the things. So yeah, it's still all the stupidity, all of the like knee-jerk reactions. But maybe before I act, there's going to be this little like tug on my collar and be like, should I? Yeah. Yeah. And then go do it. Counter question. DM to player, did that interaction land how you wanted it to? The Moradark going to the Vale.
I think,
or was there anything else narratively that you were trying to drive there that I didn't pick up on or you wanted to communicate?
no, I think that if there was a goal, the only goal that I had was to communicate the effect or like the nature of death in this world, and it's a again heroic fantasy high magic, so there is the like people come back from being dead all the time. Sometimes it's after a few minutes, a few seconds. Sometimes it's after like 100 years. Like it is resurrection, necromancy, all of that exists in this world. However, there are heavy costs that are like tied to that. So when someone dies and they pass beyond the veil, and whether like in death or life, I think the way that I've thought about this is that there are entities that sort of are above the not supernatural beings that stake a claim on souls or like the value of those lives. And so once you pass beyond the veil, the person that has staked a claim is now like the scales are becoming unbalanced when that person is brought back to life, or their fate is sort of changed. So that was pretty much what I was trying to communicate. And so if all of that got through in that interaction that, hey, this is the value of your life, and it's sort of weighed out on these scales, and because of what your life's value has been measured as, this is where you're going. This is who has the claim stake on your eternity.
Yeah.
So that was really it. And
I think the fact that it is that way came across. I don't know as a player or in my character like who that entity is.
right.
And I know that there's, as a player, I know that there's ramifications coming my direction for having entered the veil and exited back to the mortal world.
Yeah. That was also kind of communicated to Poppy as well, like in the temple. It was like, hey, like you brought him back. So like the outcome of that imbalance is now like on your shoulders. And so
I
You even
basically
squish it
co-signed your
I'm
lease
tougher
out
now.
of hell.
yeah. Yep.
Kyle, for
Did you
no
hear
good.
me?
No, what'd you say?
That I basically co-signed your lease out of hell.
Mhm.
So if you default, they're coming after me.
Good thing I'm rich, right?
No, I need you to be rich and being a good person.
Rich in morals.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you
You can start by getting rid of that fucking mirror.
you backed up the wrong dude.
You signed
Do
your
you
name.
really think it's a good idea to get rid of the mirror?
I don't necessarily think it's good to get rid of the mirror. I just don't like how much pull Lorathriel seems to have within our group because of his relationship with Mordark.
Yeah.
The fact that Mordark can so willingly have a conversation with him and so willingly consider swapping places with him is what really irks me. It's not so much as Lorathriel himself, it's just how much pull and sway he has with a member of our group. I do not care for that.
That makes sense.
So you'd have to change my mind about the perks and benefits of having an archfey as my best friend.
Would anything change your mind?
Try me.
I
I'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah. What's that persuasion DC?
I don't even. How does that even work? That you're asking a new player how.
So yeah, it's like 5 is generally like pretty trivial. 10 is like difficult. 15 is like really difficult, and then it goes up. It's like 20 is like extremely difficult, and it's like
Carl,
impossible.
I would probably concede like an 18 because Mordark has only had relatively positive experiences with Lorathiel. Lorathiel has come to his aid. He's been an emotional support, so he's checking all the boxes as far as Mordark is concerned.
What
He
were your
hasn't come to
feelings
your
about him
aid
the
when it
first
really
time?
mattered, though.
He
He left you hanging.
yeah, I didn't get to him in time.
You spoke to him.
Which instance are you talking about? When I pulled the mirror out, I was like, "Help!" and then it there wasn't enough time.
Yeah.
What was your first?
But can
your
you trust
first
him to
experience
say it?
with him, though?
Can you trust what he said? That he didn't have enough time?
Yeah.
Who knows if he did?
I
Secretly,
I gotta take him in.
secretly, I have to roll a percentile every time Azariah sees that mirror come out on whether or not he's going to shoot it.
You've been rolling that. That's funny. You should do it. You should shoot it because I really want to know what happens.
One day it may happen. It has to narratively make sense for Azariah to decide to do that at that point in time. But yeah, I do strongly consider it every time I see it.
I wonder if it's gonna be like when Gimli swings his axe at the One Ring, and it just like his axe explodes.
Yeah,
Good.
destroying magical items is not trivial. It's they're
No, I personally know that it will take a lot more than just an arrow.
yeah.
But
So you're just getting some target practice in.
if nothing else, it might knock it out of your hand, and someone else could shove it in a bag of holding.
You stop this.
Yeah. You also don't know what the effect of destroying the mirror would be. Also, it's like since it acts as a prison of sorts, would
There's a lot of
destroying the
things.
prison be?
But if he's freed from his prison, he no longer has necessarily the sway to take over.
True.
That is a question. Where does he return to if his prison is destroyed?
Because ultimately, the biggest thing that I have a problem with is him having so much sway over a party member. Who, while Mordark does not necessarily consider Azariah a friend anymore, Azariah is starting to have these relationships and bonds with the group members, and it does kind of. It's a moral dilemma because it hurts Azariah that Mordark does not see him as a friend anymore, but at the same time, he's also struggling with the thought of considering, these folks as friends and companions, because there's that.
What if they die?
Mm-hmm.
What if my friendship with them is what causes them to die?
Everyone around me dies.
When Mordor died, it was definitely it wasn't unknown for Azariah to witness death.
Yeah.
But
it also wasn't your fault.
It wasn't. But also, my decisions could have caused that. My decisions in combat, my lack of accuracy. I missed a lot of shots.
Yeah.
If I had been on my game, it would have been different. And so that, again, was it weighed heavily into Azariah's.
It sounds like Azariah is going to justify ownership and blame no matter what because of his history. Not like Poppy. Poppy, there was nothing she could have done, but now she's like, well, I gotta make sure that this never happens again. She's taking ownership and responsibility of the problem.
Yes and no. Marcus went down in the previous combat. But, I was dropping 20s left and right in that combat. And I was dropping people, and I was on my game.
Yeah.
And I was doing everything I could. And that's a little bit of a different scenario. I didn't walk us into that situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I felt like I had done everything that I could have done. So I didn't feel responsible for Marcus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the following combat, I sucked big floppy donkey dick. And
was that Azariah's idea to? I think that Azariah was the main sort of we need to go back and talk to Dante, and he was the one mostly pushing for it.
Yeah.
In that scenario.
Very well could have been part of it. I think me and Ainsora were both like-minded in trying to go back. I'd have to go back and watch again because I don't really remember, because there was one situation where we went and talked to Dante shortly after Azariah and Mordark had already had an encounter with him, and I don't know if that was the same. I feel like we've had 3 different encounters with him.
Yeah. So it was
it was
first
it
one.
was that third encounter.
Yeah.
And so there was also responsibility in making that choice or putting that idea out there for us to go there.
Yeah, every time that you.
And then he sucked, and then Mordark died.
Yeah.
Not even unconscious, just died.
So you're telling me, for a second instance in our gameplay, Mordark died because of Azariah.
Mm.
Because player me will remember. I'm just kidding.
It's.
I mentioned it before that Azariah was having a hard time reconciling that situation, but
yeah. It's interesting though. I was genuinely not. I was surprised by how you all handled interactions with Dante. As a DM, I don't think I was this is the big bad, or this is the guy that you must thwart or anything like that. But it was certainly, I feel each interaction that you had with him, somebody died or was put in peril. Every time that he was
involved
in the same situation, one of your companions went down, or there was this huge fight. In
first time we met him, he had somebody killed right there in his office, and then the next interaction, his friend died, or his lover, or whatever the hell she was, died. We still don't know.
Assistant.
And then the next interaction, Mordark dies, and Marcus turns into a fire elemental because he was knocked unconscious again, and
it was. Yeah.
And while our first interactions with Dante were super sketch, and there's still a lot of unanswered questions that still have Azariah kind of on edge around Dante. He does appear to be making steps into trying to show that he is not a threat. Not saying that he isn't. I'm just saying that he seems to be trying to make steps in that direction.
Dude, figuring out Dante has been one of the biggest issues because, like, no matter how many times we roll for it, like, I want to insight check him. It's like, no, he's saying...
We're just not asking the right questions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's
also
also
what it comes down to.
Very charismatic SOB. Like, in terms of just, like raw stats, he's... or say, in terms of raw power, he's not near Lorathiel, but in terms of like force of personality, there's not a gap there. There's like, you know, people that have the ability to like influence others and like have other people see things their way. He's special. I'll say that.
So I want to know how you walked away from our interaction where I got to play Lorathiel, and you played Dante, and I essentially made a threat.
Yeah.
How did that? So we'll start outside and then we'll work our way in. Like, how did that affect your, like, how you saw the story unfolding, and then how did that affect Dante, and then how did that affect Lorathiel in your head?
So you portraying Lorathiel immediately shifted like his persona in my head, because whenever someone else sort of like picks up a role, like, you know, there's like, you look at the different actors that have portrayed like characters like the Joker, for instance, like there's this instant sort of like shift to like, you know, oh, like now that I'm seeing this character in this light, I have a different understanding of them, and it's almost like there's more depth, so there's more questions, but then there's also like a little bit more like clarity in like who he is. Like you've added detail to him that wasn't there before, but with that is also like there's now new questions about him. And you know, I think for his interaction with Dante, my, I guess, takeaway was that, you know, Dante was kind of like, he was punked a little bit. Like he, before that, had the really like pompous sort of like, I'm untouchable. In a
like he
certain
basically
sense.
like ran the town, essentially.
Yeah, like he ran the town without having any official office or title. And then after that, he felt really, really touchable. So he sort of like, you know, geared down and bite him.
Touchable.
Oh, touchable. Oh, I was like, what is happening?
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of my takeaway.
Okay, so Lorathiel was able to knock Dante down a peg, and did Dante essentially feel any kind of like there was a want to undermine Lorathiel at all? Like, well, yeah, you showed up on me once, but like you're not here all the time, so I'll just make sure I act accordingly, like while you're here, or
it's about time.
That is a good question. I will forego answering at this time.
Cool. All right.
But yeah, there's a lot in not answering, like we said before. So
Yeah.
why don't we? You want to do one more question and then call it a night?
Jimmy hasn't asked me his question yet.
Oh yeah. What was your Clark question?
Once you forgot it, or it's been pseudo answered, then we can move on.
Shoot. No. I know what it is. Hang on. The Clark question is. Someone.
I can touch you.
I actually did. I forgot it.
Dum dum dum.
Pick up your wand.
You
Yeah.
Dang it. What does he say?
Such a
He says,
nerd.
I can touch you. I can. What does he say? So weird.
Yeah, it is.
It's pretty yucky.
It's ick mode for sure. It's like,
Oh, okay.
You just came up with a new one.
Yes, but it is grounded in things that I want to know about. Kind of like Clark as a player, but then also like some of his decision making. So, Azariah is a ranger, and he's categorically like brutish, a little offstanding.
say British.
Brood.
Oh,
BROOD.
A little British.
A little
A
British.
little British.
A little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit of water bottle.
What's that?
Poppy's new accent.
I'm just curious because like I've built myself a little bit of a trope of a character. This is my third iteration of playing Moradark across various campaigns.
It's gotten worse and worse every time.
Every time, baby. Do you typically play a character, not just that they happen to be a ranger, but do you typically play a character like this as like a personality type or an archetype? Have you ever played anything like outlandish or crazy or
Who's your
emotional?
Gypsy?
Like-
Danger.
Gypsy
Yeah.
danger.
Okay, twofold. Do you play this character a lot, and then if not, who else have you played? And tell me about those characters.
So Azariah, first of all, Azariah is my old OG gamer handle for pretty much any game that I have ever played. When I first started D&D, obviously, as our last game would entail, I'm not the best at creating names on the spot. So I ran with my gamer handle, and I've always loved archers. So my first character that I ever created was Azariah, who was an archer. He was a ranger. He was not human like this iteration is. He was elf, wood elf.
Honestly, Azariah is a great fantasy name.
Yeah.
It's also a biblical name. That's where it came from.
Jazariah is a great improv name.
So, anywho, he was my first character that I ever played in a campaign that lasted a good long while, but that campaign also had each of us playing multiple characters. Where essentially, kind of like how tonight, we always wanted to play. And so we ended up taking over the stronghold, and then the DM had us create all these additional characters so that if not everybody was at the table, they could go off on the side quest with one of their alternative characters, but the main characters still had the main quest when everybody was together.
That's so funny. They're like, oh, they're missing. We'll just bring Jared instead. Come on, Jared.
So, throughout that, I had a sorcerer who was actually my first player death. Literally the first time I played him.
Oh, man.
You always remember your first.
First time I played him, he was killed.
Oh.
I was so upset.
Ooh.
Dang.
Well, he's a sorcerer though, right? So it's kind of like par for the course.
Yeah, so I immediately remade him. And then I think I played a dwarven barbarian who also made a comeback in a different campaign with different people. I played like a half-orc paladin. I've played a lot of different things, and they all have varying personalities and gameplay styles. And when I play Silver, my dwarf barbarian, that if Azariah dies in this campaign, you might see Silver. Who knows?
Why did you choose Azariah for this campaign?
Because Azariah was always one of my favorites. I felt like Azariah had the most depth of character out of all the characters that I played, and when I was speaking with Jimmy when he was initially inviting me to play with y'all, it sounded like a campaign in a group that might play for a long time. And so I wanted something that had depth. And I also just I haven't played that OG character in 10 years probably.
So it felt like
That's
a fitting
wild.
revival of your D&D career.
Yeah, it was just, kind of starting over. I haven't played D&D in like
You also had to come
3-4
up with them
years, so-
kind of quick, right? If I recall, it was like hey,
and his
figure
whole
this out.
backstory is completely different. Like his personality is kind of similar, but kind of not. Kind of basic ranger personality, honestly, but a little more depth behind the story as to why he's the way that he is. whereas other characters are not. You know, my dwarf barbarians usually very just like rush into combat, no dialogue. You know, drinks like crazy.
So, Marcus.
To a degree.
Just without the
Definitely
fire
broke a
salts.
lot of important encounters for various DMs playing that character. And then one DM decided to give me a sentient axe that made it life very difficult as that barbarian. I literally could not retreat.
Oh yeah.
I could not run from battle. Like
Oh,
the
that's
axe
so
demanded that I fight in battle, and so it just enhanced the
That's
personality.
funny.
That's,
And then of
There's an
course,
idea.
Yeah.
Finn did that little like one shot online that one time, and just Johnny on the spot created this.
yeah.
What was it? Furblog monk that was named Gypsy Danger.
Yeah. That
Who,
was when we were playing in what's it called? Tailspire, and Finn was DMing.
That's recorded, right? That's up
Yeah.
somewhere, right?
It's on the channel. So
Yeah, you can watch that.
one of our mini
Of course, our Kobold last week. I don't know. Played a lot of different things, but
Okay.
and I try to make sure that every character is a little different. I don't
Yeah.
know. The one thing that I've never played is something that was super smart, because a lot of the riddles that are involved in games, I'm just not personally there, and so I just don't think I can bring that to the table.
That's what I feel like. I'm really so personally. I would love to play like a wizard or a sorcerer or anything like that. But like, man,
Yeah.
I'm already struggling to play a rogue really well. And like, there's someone who's like 15 years experience right now, probably gonna watch this at some point and be like, "You're a moron." Like, rogue go hide.
Why didn't you do this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Rogue go hide. Rogue go stab. Like.
Yeah.
Rogue check for traps.
Rogue check for rogue lockpick. Like I've been missing a lockpick for like 10 episodes now.
Yeah.
Which should have been in your starting kit anyways.
He
but, you know,
broke
Moradork
His
doesn't
thieves'
know how to go buy a lockpick, or he doesn't know how to acquire a lockpick.
If
He doesn't
you're a
know-
thief, do you think you buy your tools in the store, or do you think you collect things that are useful over time? Maybe over our things, you should be telling Kyle, "Can I look for something useful to
Can
add
I
to
look
my
for a
thing?"
lockpick here?
But it's like, is there scrap metal at this blacksmith place that we've been in? Because we've been in like 3 different art. Like,
Wow.
Yeah.
I
No,
look for
literally,
useful
like-
things where you can ask for gold. That's Mordark is like.
you're not scavenging for thieves' tools, and I don't know why you haven't. You
Yeah.
should be scavenging for thieves' tools.
Yeah. Open
So-
every barrel, every box.
That's literally the thing.
Shake
Is
down a
like,
kid
and
in the
I'm
Rapapod
a
town.
little.
Hell, you could have found some of this stupid camp that you've been wandering around in twice now.
Oh
You're
yeah.
not trying.
I'm
Like, dummy.
I'm a little torn between like trying to like play the game and then like also trying to play my character.
You could ask Marcus
bit.
to find you some damn thieves' tools. He's in shady places all the damn time.
Would it help you to realize that the game is your character's life? It would be like if you, Jimmy Allen, broke your laptop. You wouldn't be like, "Oh, it's the game to get it fixed." It's your life.
No, I know, but
You'd figure it out.
I'm dealing with a lot, so I'm
Oh, okay.
struggling with like there's stuff I gotta do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and there's immediate threats, and then like, oh, how am I engaging with that? So it's just
Okay.
like my
Yeah.
character's struggling with a lot.
Well,
But anyhow,
Well-
that's all aside.
Kyle in real life got hit by a stray just now because you just said like there's things that you should be doing, or Liz said like there's things that you should be doing, and then you were like, but yeah, I'm also dealing with like threats and like things that are happening on the fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
related.
I mean,
Yeah,
is that not
right.
real life?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's literally.
But would that allow you to not take care of the things that you have to take care of?
Allow.
Well-
What do you mean allow me to?
If you're really stressed out and then your laptop breaks for work, would you not fix your laptop?
Oh no,
because you're
that's
stressed?
that suddenly becomes the most important, like the loudest
Yeah.
and most important issue.
Like it doesn't have to be added to like a checklist, like because when you were saying it, I was like, Mordark just needs like a checklist of things. Like I need lockpicks, I need
I mean, if Azariah broke his bow,
yeah,
first thing he's gonna do is try to fix it or get another bow.
Yeah.
I understand that you're
So,
going through
as a
something
rogue-
traumatic and emotional,
Mhm.
but you'd also be like, this is the thing that I use daily to get gold, which is my biggest priority. So I would think that you would still be like, I gotta put on my big girl shorts.
But if he's feeling morally conflicted about where he was going in the afterlife as a result of his decision to steal,
mhm.
does he need to go out and get more fire salt, get more
Well,
lockpicks.
you broke your lockpick far before you killed
No, I
yourselves.
understand. But
Is this growth?
But so is part of the reason why you haven't prioritized or have trouble finding a lockpick because I think you originally were telling me that your character is someone who is new to adventuring and new to create and like having a specific skill set. So you essentially are learning how to be a rogue. You are truly a level 1.
What is
no,
your
no.
backstory? What have you
Okay,
been doing?
Hang on. Learning to be a rogue, yes. Learning to steal and acquire things, no. Been doing that since I was a small child.
So a lockpick should be something that's typical in your kit that you would be trying to
Typical in my
replace.
kit, and also small town. So like, oh, I know, like that shop has keeps them in stock or whatever. I don't know.
I'm
like,
sorry, this
whatever.
is a huge hole for me. What have you been doing before you showed up to that flyer? Where were you? Jimmy, what's your backstory?
So we graduated the academy.
You didn't go to the academy.
I did.
What academy?
We all graduated from the same like heroes academy, right?
No, Yin and Locke, their characters were actively going to
They were
an adventuring.
Bladesinger Academy.
They were in like sophomore year of an academy or
These
something.
are really big questions that we don't have time for because Kyle has to go on an airplane. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, put it on me.
I realized that where I'm like, were you in B Grove?
Who
Where
are you?
were you? What were you doing?
If I was, you never saw me.
Okay. You have no backstory. This is making a lot more sense now.
Mordark showed up at the flyer.
Avoiding
Mordark's a mole. He's
avoiding
a
my
plant.
mom.
Well,
I know that much.
yeah. Let's
Okay.
Finn asked a question.
Mhm.
D&D YouTube the Chanel. Kyle, is there actually a BBG or is the BBG inside all of us? And my answer is the BBG is the man in the mirror. Whatever you take that to mean. Well, that's not a man, but you know what I mean.
That's
Metaphorically.
Not a man.
It's me.
Well, you're a lizard. None of us are human. It has to be as is.
And
You're the only man.
Marcus is
Wait.
me.
Marcus is human
Is
Marcus
he?
and
human.
a
He's
a
man,
variant.
maybe.
he's a
I
No,
mean-
we established he burned off his.
Yeah, we did say the
His
first question we
snots.
were going to ask Marcus without him being here, so we were going to meta for him is if he has a dick or not.
Definitely
we
doesn't.
decided you burned it off. Sorry.
No, I
Yeah.
think Marcus. Everybody
There's
knows
actually
Marcus
nothing
is
at the bottom of the
is an
V.
addict.
There's nothing.
It's just like
He's a
a convex Barbie.
Eunuch.
Yeah, Marcus.
Marcus
Finn
like,
goes,
"I'm a
I'm a man.
Kindle.
He's a Kindle. It's just this bulb.
Oh.
That's why
all
he
right.
emits fire. Because
Yeah.
there's something wrong.
he,
He's
he,
back
he
up.
wears a codpiece, so he at least seems whole.
Something is really bad.
Okay.
I don't want to be around anymore.
Friction.
Jimmy, what's your
It's
favorite
canon
character?
now.
That
Marcus wears a codpiece.
I'm sorry.
What's your favorite character that I've played?
Vola. Ray chart.
Vola was good.
Vola was amazing. Yeah. And I think
Bring
Kyle's
back
wrapping up.
the
Oh yeah,
accent.
sorry.
What?
Are you trying to
He
wrap
said
this
that you're
up?
trying to wrap it up.
Yeah.
You said the Asimar?
You said the Asimar?
That's what I heard in my head for some reason. Anyways,
I don't know. Well,
Ask more?
yeah.
ask more.
Ask more questions next time. We're gonna go
Bye.
tonight. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thanks for being with us. See you next week.
What an abrupt ending.
Wow.
It was.
Kyle said, "This is over. Actually, too far.
You know, it's like too many people are asking questions that reveal.
How little we know."
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I
Hey.
really hope we look back in this in 5 years.
No,
We're like,
dude,
oh my
honestly,
gosh.
I think that we should chop this up and put it on socials. I think it should be like maybe Craig can jump in and